talk of the village. Her long, braided hair glistened like freshly poured palm oil, and her smooth, dark skin seemed to glow in the sun. Everywhere she went, people stopped to admire her. By the time she was a teenager, suitors came knocking at the Joe household, offering gifts and pleading for her hand in marriage. But Chief Joe would laugh and say, "My Ada is not for just anyone." Chief Joe took pride in Ada's beauty, believing it was a reflection of his wealth and status. He often invited friends to his home, where Ada served them cola nuts and palm wine. His friends would marvel, saying, "Ah, Joe, you are truly blessed. This daughter of yours is the Queen of Iris." Hearing these words made Ada hold her head high, her confidence growing with each compliment. She began to believe that no man was good enough for her. "Why should I marry a mere farmer or trader?" she thought. "I deserve a prince or even a king." By the time Ada turned 20, the line of suitors at her seemed endless. There was Luke, the wealthy merchant with a booming laugh, Paul, the son of a village chief, and Joseph, the handsome hunter known for his bravery. But Ada dismissed them all with a wave of her hand. "Luke is too fat," she complained. "Paul may be a chief's son, but he lacks charm. And Joseph, a hunter. What would I do with animal skins when I could wear silk?" Her family began to worry, but Ada remained firm. "I will marry only the best." The annual Yam Festival was the highlight of Iris, and Ada always stole the show. This year, she wore a coral-beaded headdress and a wrapper of the finest oak, sent by an uncle from Lagos. As she danced gracefully in the village square, the crowd cheered. Several young men approached her with compliments, but Ada barely acknowledged them. "These boys," she whispered to her friend Glory, "do they think they can impress me with their ordinary clothes and bland faces?" Glory laughed nervously, but deep down, she wished Ada would be more humble. One day, Mum Kechi, the village matchmaker, visited the Obi household. "Chief Joe," she began, "Ada's beauty is unmatched, but she is not getting younger. Let me find her a husband before she becomes the talk of the town." Chief Joe laughed. "Let them talk. My Ada can marry whenever she pleases. Besides, who would dare gossip about her?" Ada, listening from behind a curtain, felt a surge of pride. "I am too beautiful to rush into marriage," she thought. "The perfect man will come when the time is right." As Ada grew older, her friends began to drift away. One by one they got married and started families. Her closest friend, Amaka, married a kind blacksmith and gave birth to twins. When Ada visited, Amaka said, "Ada, marriage isn't as bad as you think. Look at my children, they are my joy." But Ada dismissed her. "Amaka, you settled too quickly. I would rather wait for a man who matches my worth than marry for the sake of it." One day, a wealthy stranger named Felix visited Iris. He was tall, handsome, and rode a horse adorned with golden tassels. The village buzzed with excitement as Felix asked about the famed beauty of Iris. When he met Ada, he was struck by her beauty. "You are as radiant as the morning sun," he said. But when he offered to marry her, Ada laughed. "Your horse may shine, but you are not the king I deserve," she replied. Felix left, humiliated, and the villagers whispered about Ada's impossible standards. One afternoon, Ada met an old widow named Elder Eunice while fetching water. The widow, known for her wisdom, said, "Ada, beauty fades and pride can leave you lonely. Do not let your mirror deceive you." Ada laughed. "Elder Eunice, I am young, beautiful, and rich. I have nothing to fear." The widow shook her head. "Mark my words, my child. The heart is what matters, not the face." But Ada paid no attention. Ada's mother, Mummy Joy, began to worry as years went by. "Ada," she said one evening, "you are my only daughter. I want to see you happy and settled before I grow old." But Ada waved her off. "Mum, why worry? I will marry when the time is right. And when I do, it will be a man worthy of our family name." Her mother sighed, praying silently that Ada would learn humility before it was too late. As Ada celebrated her 45th birthday, the reality of time began to creep in. She noticed the fine lines forming around her eyes and the laughter of children in her friends' homes. For the first time, she felt a pang of doubt. What if Elder Eunice was right? She wondered late one night. But her pride refused to let her admit it. I am still the most beautiful woman in Iris, she told herself. My prince will come. But deep inside, her confidence began to crack. The village square of Iris was bustling with activity as yet another wedding took place. This time, it was Glory, Ada's childhood friend, who was marrying a merchant from a neighboring town. Ada attended, dressed in her finest wrapper and adorned with coral beads. People whispered, "Why is Ada still single? Is she waiting for a prince to fall from the skies?" Though she kept a calm face, Ada felt the sting of their words. Glory's husband, though not particularly handsome, was kind and clearly in love with her. How could she settle for that? Ada thought, masking her growing unease. After the wedding, Ada returned home to find her mother waiting. "How many more weddings will you attend before we celebrate yours?" Mummy Joy asked. Ada waved her off, saying, "Mom, I have time. Why should I rush when no one meets my standards?" But in the quiet of her room, she looked at herself in the mirror. For the first time, she noticed faint lines at the corners of her eyes. "I am still beautiful," she whispered. "But where is my prince?" The following week, Ada overheard two women gossiping in the market. "Ada is beautiful, but her pride will keep her alone forever," one said. "She forgets that even the moon has its time to shine," the other added. Ada clenched her fists but kept walking. The words replayed in her mind. For years she had dismissed such talk, but now it felt like a heavy weight pressing on her chest. Ada visited Amaka, her childhood friend, who was now a mother of 3. As they sat under the shade of a mango tree, Amaka's children played nearby, their laughter filling the air. "You should join us in this kind of happiness, Ada," Amaka said gently. "Marriage isn't perfect, but it's a blessing." Ada forced a smile and replied, "I'll marry when the right man comes along." But deep down, she wondered if she had missed her chance. That night, Ada sat down with a piece of paper and wrote down what she wanted in a husband. Handsome, rich, from a prominent family, educated and tall. She stared at the list and smiled. "This is what I deserve," she said to herself. But as the days passed, the list became a source of frustration. Every suitor seemed to fail at least one requirement. One evening, a wealthy trader named Felix arrived at Ada's home with gifts of yams, fabrics, and gold. He knelt before Chief Joe and declared his intention to marry Ada. Felix was wealthy and well-dressed, but Ada found his manner arrogant. When he laughed too loudly at his own jokes during dinner, she decided he was not the one. A man should be more refined, she thought, sending him away the next morning. Next came John, a schoolteacher with a gentle demeanor. He admired Ada deeply and spoke of his dreams to build a better future for his students. "A man with vision," Mummy Joy whispered, urging Ada to consider him. But John was not wealthy, and Ada could not imagine a life of simplicity. "He is kind," she admitted, "but kindness will not buy me silk or gold." A kind fisherman named Ben approached Ada at the river one day. He offered her the largest fish he had caught that morning, saying, "This is for you, the Queen of Iris." Though flattered, Ada dismissed him with a laugh. "What would I do with a fisherman?" she told Glory later. "My husband must be more than that." Yet, as she ate the fish that evening, she couldn't forget Ben's sincerity. Word spread that Ada had rejected 3 more suitors. Villagers began whispering that her standards were too high. Even a king might not meet her expectations, they joked. Ada tried to ignore them, but their words stung. She began to wonder if her standards were unrealistic. "Am I being foolish?" she asked herself. But her pride refused to let her lower them. Ada's home, once lively with visits from suitors, grew quiet. Days turned into weeks, and no new proposals came. Her father grew impatient. "Ada, you are not getting younger. What are you waiting for?" he asked one evening. I will not settle, Dad, Ada replied firmly. But the silence of the house reminded her of what she lacked, a family of her own. At the next village festival, Ada noticed that the young women now danced at the center of the square, their vibrant energy drawing the crowd's attention. For the first time, she felt out of place. You see, Ada, an elder woman teased, youth waits for no one. Even beauty must make its choice. Ada laughed politely but felt a deep pang in her heart. Ada returned to Elder Eunice, the wise widow, for advice. Mom, do you think I have waited too long? She asked hesitantly. The old woman smiled. Ada, pride is like a heavy cloth. It may keep you warm, but it also hides the light. Shed your pride, my child, and see what truly matters. Ada nodded but struggled to understand how to let go. Ada's younger cousin, Ngozi, who had just married, visited her. Sister Ada, she said, marriage is not about finding perfection. It is about finding someone who makes your heart smile. Ada smiled and hugged her cousin but could not shake the thought that she deserved more. One quiet evening, Ada sat alone in her room, listening to the sounds of the village. Children laughed in the distance, and the faint hum of a wedding song drifted through the air. For the first time, she felt truly lonely. What if my time has passed? She whispered, tears streaming down her face. Ada woke up the next morning determined to make a change. She told her mother, I will give every suitor a chance, no matter his wealth or status. Mummy Joy embraced her, praying that this new attitude would lead to happiness. Ada still had her doubts, but for the first time, she felt ready to open her heart. Maybe love is not about perfection, she thought. Maybe it's about seeing beauty in imperfection. Ada's mother, Mummy Joy, heard about a prayer house in a neighboring village where miracles supposedly happened. Ada, they say Prophet Caleb can see visions of the future, her mother said. Desperate for answers, Ada agreed to visit. At the prayer house, Prophet Caleb asked for Ada's full name and a small offering to begin his prayers. Your husband is close, he said confidently. He is a wealthy man, but you must wait for divine timing. Ada left feeling hopeful but unsure how long she could wait. A month passed with no new suitors. Frustrated, Ada visited another prayer house. This time, Prophetess Eberra told her, Your husband's name starts with the letter E. He will come from across the river. Ada clung to these words, scanning every man she met for the name Paul, Lucas, or Emeka, but none of them fit the description. Her hope began to waver. News of a miracle prophet, named Pastor Josiah, reached Ada. This man was known for solving marital delays and was said to have helped dozens of women find their husbands. Ada, now desperate, visited his prayer house. Pastor Josiah was a charismatic man with a booming voice. He declared, Your husband's name is Vital, and he is of the Igala tribe. He claimed that Ada's destiny was tied to Vital, but spiritual cleansing was needed to remove obstacles in her path. Pastor Josiah convinced Ada to pay a large sum of money for special prayers and cleansing rituals. He gave her a bottle of holy oil and instructed her to pour it around her home for 7 days while chanting, Vital, my husband, come to me. Though skeptical, Ada followed his instructions. Each night, she prayed fervently, imagining a tall, handsome man from the Igala tribe coming to sweep her off her feet. Weeks turned into months, but no man named Vital appeared. Ada's family began questioning her frequent visits to prayer houses. Her father grew angry. Ada, you waste your money on these false prophets. When will you open your eyes? But Ada refused to give up. Dad, I must do whatever it takes. Vital will come, she insisted, clinging to the prophecy like a lifeline. One day, a humble carpenter named Ejike expressed interest in Ada. He was kind and hardworking, but Ada dismissed him immediately. His name isn't Vital, and he's not Igala, she told her mother. Mummy Joy sighed. Ada, do not let this prophecy blind you. Love may come in unexpected forms. But Ada was adamant. I will wait for the man God has chosen for me. Frustrated by the lack of results, Ada returned to Pastor Josiah's prayer house, only to find it abandoned. The once bustling compound was empty, and the prophet was nowhere to be found. A passerby revealed, "Pastor Josiah fled last week. Many people accused him of being a fraud." Ada felt the ground shift beneath her feet. She had been deceived. Shame and anger consumed her as she realized how much money she had wasted. The news of Ada's involvement with a fake prophet spread quickly through the village. People whispered behind her back, mocking her desperation. "Even the proud Ada has fallen for false promises," they said. Humiliated, Ada withdrew from public life, refusing to attend festivals or social gatherings. Her once vibrant spirit seemed dimmed by the weight of disappointment. Elder Eunice, the wise widow, visited Ada one evening. "My child," she said gently, "do not let this experience break you. Every setback is a lesson. Perhaps it is time to open your heart to the men already around you." Ada nodded silently, tears streaming down her face. For the first time, she began to question her obsession with perfection and prophecy. One morning, Ada went to the market and noticed Adam, a humble farmer, selling fresh vegetables. Unlike other vendors, he didn't shout to attract customers. His quiet confidence intrigued her. As she bought some yams, Adam smiled and said, "Good morning, Ada. It's been a while since I've seen you here." His kindness struck a chord, though Ada dismissed the thought as quickly as it came. John, the schoolteacher she had rejected, visited her family one evening. He was now engaged to a woman from another village. "You made a wise choice," Ada told him, masking her regret. After he left, Ada felt a pang of loneliness. "I could have been happy with someone like John," she thought. But she reminded herself of the prophecy, even as her faith in it began to waver. Ada saw Adam again at the river, helping an elderly woman carry her water pot. She watched him from a distance, noticing his strong, steady hands and the gentle way he spoke. When she returned home, she found herself thinking about him. "Could a simple farmer be the kind of man I need?" she wondered, surprised by the thought. That night, Ada had a vivid dream. She was standing in a golden field, holding hands with a man whose face she couldn't see. A voice whispered, "Love is not found in riches or titles, but in the heart that gives without expectation." Ada woke up feeling both comforted and confused. Was the dream a sign? Chief Joe grew impatient with Ada. "I have done everything to help you find a husband. Why do you still wait for a man who may not exist?" he asked. Ada had no answer. For the first time, she admitted to herself that she didn't know what she was waiting for. Ada began spending more time in the village, observing the lives of those around her. She noticed how Glory's husband treated her with respect and how Ben, the fisherman, taught his children to be kind. For the first time, Ada realized that happiness came in many forms. "Maybe I've been looking for the wrong things," she thought. One afternoon, Adam approached Ada as she tended her family's garden. "Ada," he said, "I know I am not the man you dreamed of, but I admire you deeply. Will you give me a chance to show you the life I can offer?" Ada hesitated, but something in his eyes made her pause. "Let me think about it," she said softly, surprising even herself. Ada visited Elder Eunice to seek advice. "Adam is a good man," the widow said. "He may not have riches, but his heart is pure. Do not overlook the blessing in simplicity." Ada nodded, her heart beginning to soften. She decided to give Adam a chance. Ada visited Adam's farm, where he proudly showed her his crops and livestock. Though modest, the farm was well kept, and Adam spoke passionately about his work. Ada felt a sense of peace she hadn't experienced in years. "This is not what I imagined," she thought, "but it feels right." Over the next few weeks, Ada and Adam spent more time together. They shared stories, laughed, and began to build a genuine connection. Ada found herself looking forward to their conversations. For the first time, she began to see beyond wealth and status, recognizing the beauty in Adam's character. One evening, as they watched the sunset over Adam's farm, Ada turned to him and said, "Adam, I was wrong to judge you by what you have instead of who you are. I would be honored to be your wife." Adam's face lit up with joy. "You have made me the happiest man alive," he said. Together, they began to plan their future. Ada returned from Adam's farm after accepting his proposal, but the reality of her decision began to sink in. Sitting in her room that evening, she thought of the grand life she had once envisioned. "A farmer," she whispered to herself, her voice tinged with doubt. Her mother knocked and entered. "Ada, you look troubled," she said. Ada hesitated, then replied, "Mom, I chose Adam because he is kind, but will this be enough?" Mummy Joy placed a hand on her shoulder. "Happiness is not about enough, my daughter. It's about the peace you find in love." News of Ada's engagement spread like wildfire. At the market, women whispered, "Ada is marrying Adam, the farmer." Some laughed, saying, "Pride has finally fallen." Ada heard the whispers and felt her cheeks burn with shame. When she told Adam about it, he smiled and said, "Let them talk. Gossip fades, but what we build together will last." Chief Joe was livid when Ada informed him of her decision. "Do you know what people are saying? They mock our family," he shouted. Ada remained calm but firm. "Dad, they mocked me before and I survived. Let them talk. Adam is the man I choose." Her father stormed out, but Mummy Joy gave her a reassuring hug. "You are stronger than you think," her mother whispered. Two suitors Ada had previously rejected, Ben the fisherman and Felix the trader, heard about her engagement and tried to win her back. Ben visited her home, saying, "You deserve more than a farmer." But Ada shook her head. "Ben, you are kind, but my heart is with Adam." Felix, on the other hand, boasted about his wealth, trying to impress her. "I've built a new mansion," he said. Ada replied, "Your mansion cannot build the peace I feel with Adam." Elder Eunice visited Ada to congratulate her. "I always knew you would find your way," she said. Ada smiled, feeling the weight of approval from the wise widow. "You've chosen well, my child. Adam may not have gold, but his heart is a treasure," Elder Eunice added. Ada felt a surge of confidence, knowing she had the widow's blessing. As Ada spent more time with Adam, she realized how different his life was from hers. One morning, he asked her to help him plant yams. Though hesitant, Ada agreed. By midday, her hands were blistered and her back ached. "This is harder than I imagined," she admitted. Adam smiled and said, "Hard work builds strength, Ada. You're doing well." For the first time, she felt proud of her effort. Villagers continued to gossip. "Ada, who once rejected chiefs and traders, is now planting yams," they laughed. Ada overheard their words but decided not to let them affect her. She told herself, "My life is not theirs to judge." Each day, she grew more confident in her choice. Ada visited Adam's family, who lived in a nearby village. His mother, Mum Adam, welcomed her warmly, saying, "You are the light my son has been waiting for." Though their home was modest, the love and warmth Ada felt were overwhelming. "This is different from what I'm used to," she thought, "but it feels right." Adam and Ada announced their wedding date, and preparations began. Some villagers mocked the simplicity of the plans. No grand feast, no expensive gifts. They sneered. Ada reminded herself that the wedding was about their union, not the opinions of others. "Let them talk," she told Adam. "We know what matters." Despite his initial objections, Chief Joe agreed to support the wedding. "You are my daughter, and I will always stand by you," he said. Ada hugged him, tears in her eyes. "Thank you, Dad," she said. She knew his blessing would make the day even more special. Glory visited Ada during the wedding preparations. "Ada, you've changed," she said. "The girl who once demanded perfection now finds joy in simplicity." Ada smiled. "I've learned that perfection is an illusion. True happiness is about love and acceptance." The wedding day arrived, and the village gathered to celebrate. Ada wore a simple but elegant wrapper, and Adam beamed with pride. As they exchanged vows, Ada felt a deep sense of peace. "This is where I belong," she thought. The crowd cheered as they were pronounced husband and wife. Ada moved into Adam's home and began her new life as a farmer's wife. The work was hard, but Adam's support made it easier. One evening, as they sat under the stars, Ada said, "Thank you for teaching me the meaning of love." Adam replied, "And thank you for choosing me." Marriage came with its own challenges. Ada struggled to adapt to the simplicity of farm life, and there were days when she missed her old comforts. But Adam's patience and encouragement reminded her of why she chose this path. "Together we can face anything," he said. Months after their wedding, Ada gave birth to twin boys. The joy they brought to their home was immeasurable. As she held her sons, Ada thought, "This is what I've been searching for, a family to call my own." The villagers, seeing Ada's happiness, stopped their gossip. "She's found her peace," they said. Even those who once mocked her began to admire her transformation. 2 years later, Ada and Adam welcomed a daughter. They named her Ngozi, meaning blessing. Their home was filled with laughter, love, and the sound of children playing. Ada visited her parents with her children, and Chief Joe was overwhelmed with pride. "You've built a beautiful life, Ada," he said. Ada hugged him and replied, "Thank you for believing in me, Dad." Ada and Adam taught their children the values of her transformation. Women often visited her for advice on marriage and motherhood. "Your life is so peaceful," one woman said. "How did you do it?" Ada smiled and replied, "By letting go of pride and embracing love." Adam became known in the village for his generosity, memories, and watching their children play together. One year, heavy rains destroyed part of Adam's farm. The loss was devastating, but Ada stood by him. "We will rebuild together," she said. With the help of neighbors and friends, they restored the farm. The experience strengthened their bond and reminded them of the power of community. Ben, the fisherman Ada once rejected, became a close family friend. He often brought fresh fish to their home, saying, "Your kindness deserves this small gift." Ada appreciated his friendship and often reflected on how life had a way of bringing people together in unexpected ways. Over time, Adam's hard work paid off. His farm flourished, and he began to supply produce to neighboring villages. "You are a true example of perseverance," Ada told him one evening. Adam smiled and said, "I couldn't have done it without you by my side." When Luke and Lucas reached their teenage years, they began to dream of wealth and adventure. "Mom, why didn't you marry a rich man?" Luke asked one day. Ada smiled and replied, "Because riches fade, but love endures. Your father taught me that true wealth is found in the heart." Ngozi, now 8 years old, was eager to learn everything about her parents' journey. "Mom, were you always this wise?" she asked. Ada laughed. "No, my child. Wisdom comes from mistakes and the lessons they teach us. You will make your own journey someday." Chief Joe, now older and wiser, visited Ada often. "You were right to follow your heart," he admitted one evening. "I see now that happiness cannot be measured by wealth." Ada hugged her father, grateful for his change of heart. "Thank you, Dad, for believing in me," she said. Adam and Ada's family became a symbol of love and resilience in Iris. Neighbors often sought their advice, saying, "You've shown us what it means to live a good life." Ada and Adam were proud of the legacy they were building, not in material wealth, but in the values they passed on to their children and community. On their 10th wedding anniversary, Adam surprised Ada with a simple but heartfelt celebration. "Thank you for choosing me," he said. Ada smiled, tears in her eyes. "Thank you for showing me the meaning of love," she replied. The night was filled with laughter, music, and gratitude. Ngozi, now a teenager, shared her dream of becoming a teacher. "I want to help others learn just like you taught me, Mom," she said. Ada felt a surge of pride. "Follow your dreams, my daughter. The world needs more hearts like yours." As the years passed, Ada and Adam found joy in the simplest things: harvesting crops, sharing meals, and watching the sunset. One evening, Ada said, "I never imagined life could be so beautiful." Adam replied, "That's because you opened your heart to it." Now in her later years, Ada often reflected on her journey. "Pride blinded me, but love opened my eyes," she told her grandchildren. Her story became a cherished tale in the village, teaching younger generations the value of humility and love. The family's influence brought the village closer together. Festivals were more joyous, and neighbors supported one another. Ada and Adam's legacy of kindness transformed Iris into a thriving community. One evening, as Ada and Adam sat on their porch watching their grandchildren play, she turned to him and said, "This is the life I never knew I wanted." Adam smiled and held her hand. "And you've made it more beautiful than I ever dreamed." They sat in silence, content in the life they had built, as the sun dipped below the horizon. The moral lesson of Ada's story is that true happiness lies in humility, love, and the genuine connections we build with others, not in wealth, status, or appearances. Pride and unrealistic expectations can blind us to the blessings right in front of us, but with an open heart and the willingness to embrace simplicity, we can find a deeper, more lasting joy. Ada's transformation teaches us that the value of a person is measured by their character and kindness, not by material possessions or societal standards. It also reminds us that life is a journey of learning, and sometimes the greatest lessons come from our mistakes. When we let go of superficial desires and embrace what truly matters, we not only find fulfillment but also leave a legacy of love and resilience for others to follow.